Thanks for joining us for another episode of Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. We are back to review one hell of a divisional round weekend in the NFL. We certainly got a lot more excitement and close games than we did in Wildcard Weekend. And we are down to the final four teams on the road to Las Vegas, battling it out to get into the Super Bowl. I'm joined, as always, by Byron and Joe. Gentlemen, how was your divisional round weekend, first of all?
Absolutely fine, yes. I'm enthralling football, 3 one-score games. But, I feel I shouldn't really be commenting here. Joe, big weekend. So how are you feeling, Joe?
Yeah, there was a lot of nerves, a lot of stress, and everything what goes with a typical playoff game. Close ones. But I think, it was a great weekend overall. Even the game, which wasn't a one-score game, was close at halftime. So I think we got a great 4 games and, exciting matchups going into next week.
Yeah, we've got great matchups going into Conference Championship games next week. We're not focusing on that, though. We're focusing on the divisional round, and we're going to break down all 4 games. But just as a reminder, if you're not following us already, make sure you do on Spotify. Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. You'll be notified of new episodes when they dropped. Go follow the YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, X, TikTok at GTW_GTC to be kept up to date with everything that we've got going on. We've got some exciting news to share at the end as well. It'd be great if you could come and support us with that. But let's get into the games. First up, we'll do just the games in order, and we'll start with Saturday, the early game. The Houston Texans went to Baltimore. The Ravens won 34-10 after pulling away in the second half. The Texans kept this one close into the third quarter. What did you make of it? Was that more the rust of the Ravens having had kind of 2 weeks off because the rest of the starters in week 18 as well? Or was that just them struggling against a pretty good Texans team?
I think it's more, it was a little struggle at the start because the Texans are a good team. And I think it just maybe took the Ravens a little bit to get up to fully speed, whether that's because they've had 2 weeks off or because, the Texans are a good team. They kept them close, kept it competitive. But ultimately, I think once Baltimore put the foot on the gas in the second half, I know what happened. It was 10-10 and it finished 34-10. It kind of telling what happened. Houston struggled to sustain drives, and Lamar Jackson, once again, shown why he's MVP. First player in playoff history, I believe, to have 100 rushing, 100 passing, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns in the game, which is just an incredibly Lamar Jackson stat line. Once again, shows why, like I say, he's MVP. And, great year of progress for the Texans. We've been saying all week we're playing with house money. Well, eventually the house won, I guess. And
House always wins.
Yeah, Ravens go on to the next week as, 9.5 points. I think me and you both took, Paul. I know I did. Felt like Texans could keep it close, and for half of it they did, but the quality just shone through in the end, yeah.
I was loving the Texans 9.5, even kind of midway through that third quarter. I really felt good about it, and then they just couldn't sustain anything. Ultimately, telling that obviously the Texans didn't score an offensive touchdown. The all touchdown scores on special teams. Yeah. That's twice the Texans have played the Ravens this year, to start the season, to finish the season, and not managed to score an offensive touchdown. They've kind of shut them down twice. But certainly a lot of progress in between. I've always about the Texans did something that they didn't usually do, especially in that first half. They went very blitz heavy, and it worked really. It stifled the Ravens, and it kind of felt like the only offense they were getting was kind of Lamar sneaking out and running, and it was a bit of a struggle. But I think the Ravens got wise to that after halftime, and then just the back to back touchdown drives killed them off. Joe, what did you make of kind of the Ravens defense being able to shut down the Texans once again?
Yeah, I think it just showed why they're probably the best defense left in all this season, because it never felt like the Texans were going to score no matter what. Like the Texans' last few weeks of offense, especially, has been awesome, and it just, even when they had a few drives, it felt like it was a struggle where Stroud had to do something special to even get a first down. So it never felt like, they're just suddenly going to pile the points up. And I think that helped, obviously, Lamar, because even like the first half, and then they scored too many points, if it was just like, I'm just waiting them to kick on. I think the only thing I was worried about was in terms of the pressure and all the noise around Lamar in the playoffs and basically the Ravens in the playoffs the last few years. That was that going to be too much pressure? But I think he just showed why, he's the MVP and why that they are the best team in the league. And I think it was just all-round dominance. It must be scary for the rest of the teams because, it never felt at one point. I think when it went in halftime, that first possession with the Texans, I think if they could have got a touchdown there, that would have made it interesting. But as soon as I think they went 3 and out, or suddenly didn't do much that first drive after halftime, and then the Ravens just took control because it just felt like they just needed. Eventually, it was going to click. The big players were going to step up. Likely, Zay Flowers had a big game, and obviously Lamar was just outstanding. I don't think you could play a better playoff game. And he showed why he's top quality.
Yeah, the Ravens, like I say, that second half just put the foot down, didn't they, and just took no prisoners. That defense, from a stat line perspective, didn't look great. It's not as if they sat Stroud loads or whatever, but they consistently got pressure to CJ Stroud with 4 when they rushed 4, and even though they were missing their top corner Humphrey, the coverage downfield was. They were just stuck to the receivers. Nico Collins couldn't get free. Every time, Stroud did manage to complete a pass, there were 2-3 Ravens there just to shut down any yards after there were no yard after catch opportunities. And they're just really, really suffocating defense. And just moving Kyle Hamilton about as well. Like the Texans really needed to be able to stretch the field, I think. And I think that's what whoever plays the Ravens, when the Chiefs next week, and then potentially whether it's the Niners or Lions in the Super Bowl, you have to keep them honest going the other way. I think that's the only way you're going to free up being able to run on them, being able to even complete intermediate passes, and free up that over the middle, because they can just close to the line of scrimmage and Hamilton around, and them linebackers can cheat and step up. And all of a sudden it comes that you just can't move the ball against them. And I think the key to that is them being able to pressure with 4. The Texans just struggled to run the ball, could not run the ball. And then they broke one. Singletary broke one for 16 yards in their third quarter. They didn't run again after that.
Yeah.
They were only down 1 score at the time,
It was just, again, talking about how they couldn't get drives going as well. Like, in the second half, they had 19 plays. The Texans on offense. The Ravens had 4 drives, went touchdown, field goal for 6 plays, 12 plays, 11 plays, 8 plays. Like, the Texans just, like you said, between the Ravens swarming all over them, couldn't go deep. And I know it probably will come up in his head coaching interviews, but like Bobby Slowick's insistence on running on first down, I don't have the numbers for it, but it felt like every drive started with a run into a loaded box, because the Ravens don't respect your ability to throw deep. If Tank Dell was there, maybe would have been different, but he's not there. He hasn't been there for weeks, so you have to prepare for it to not be there. And it just felt like it was handoff to Singletary, running to 4 big defenders on the line. There's just no creativity.
Yeah, and I think it finally showed, because the offensive line's not been great all year. It's Stroud pulling, rabbit out of the hat. And I think even though they didn't get any sacks, it was constantly like running away from the pocket, constantly, spinning out. So, I know sacks is one of the stats we look at, but I think pressure is the main one, and he just felt like he was under pressure all the time. Like I said, any completion, it was like a contested catch. It never felt like there was someone wide open, and it was an easy completion. And I think I understand what you said about the run game where they got that big run, but I think even if they tried to run it again, I think that may have just been a one-off that they managed to break through. So I just think this defense was too much for them. But when you look at the Texans, they're set up really well, and they probably just need a few pieces here and there, get a better O-line, and they might be able to challenge teams like this going forward. But I think it was just a step up for them against the Ravens.
Yeah, great first year for Stroud and DeMeco Ryans and the Texans as a whole. They definitely moved a massive step in the right direction, and expectations for them are just all of a sudden going to be huge after going from where they were to division win and a playoff, win the division and a playoff win. Expectations are going to be huge, but we'll see how they progress. The Ravens look I don't want to say unstoppable because they've got a real tough game next week. I think they very much were hoping that they'd get the Bills and not the Chiefs. But it's hard to look past the Ravens, especially on the other side when they've already beat the Niners and the Lions pretty handily already this season. Yeah. In terms of this one, kind of a bit of a mixed bag for us, wasn't it? So we were all on the Texans plus the 9.5, weren't we?
I think Joe was on the Ravens minus
Joe, you take the Ravens. Sorry.
Joe was the opposite to us on everything this week.
Oh, my apologies.
Which probably is good for Joe. I haven't checked our standings, but I think that's probably good for Joe.
Yeah. And one of the reasons I went Ravens is like, have we not learned throughout this year where the Ravens have banged us being big home favourites?
I will never learn.
Yeah. We'll never learn. I took the over that hit. Luckily, luckily it moved half a point. Joe, you got the push for our competition, which we'll come into, but I backed the over plus 43.5, and that Justin took a field goal very late on. Clinched that to take it to 44. I had the Justice Hill over 1.5 receptions. All that pressure and didn't get the Justin Madubuike sack. Every time
a single sack, I don't believe, right?
Yeah, no, they didn't. I backed that 3 or 4 times, and they're the only games he hasn't had a sack in.
We will never learn.
He went in 11 in a row. You see, he got sacked in 11 games in a row.
And then Paul comes along. I think we had a 6-1 winner as well, right?
Yeah, so Joe, shout out. You had Lamar Jackson 2 or more touchdowns plus 600. Congrats.
Thanks. Yeah, it just felt like it was a game where he would take over. And we'll talk about the game coming up. And I was going to do a similar for every quarterback, but I backed out of it. It feels like whenever in the red zone, he's their main threat. And, you see why. He was just, some easy touchdowns with.
Yeah. Hard look on your same game parlay live for a while. But wasn't to be. And then Byron, bit of a struggle in there. Texans Ravens,
bit of a struggle on the weekend. I do better with these big slates. I'm betting less on the playoff games, I must say, because I'm always looking for value bets as opposed to just like wins. And it's like I should probably just look for wins and try and get that percentage up in the playoffs rather than like trying to find 60 to 1s because there's so much less stuff to troll through. But I think Joe had this bet last week. It was 9.5 rush yards. I'm looking at next week's bet. I'm looking at Jordan Love here. But I had Schultz anytime touchdown, didn't come close. I think I had every combination of Ravens passing and receiving and not a high passing outage game. So.
Yeah, 152 for Lamar, wasn't it? So I think Zay Flowers maxed at 41 yards.
Yeah, so not a great output now.
Yeah, tough one. But well, let's move on to that next one then. Joe, we've got to start with you. And I think this is fair to say the Niners survived this one.
Yeah, it wasn't the best game. But this is why I had confidence, because if this 49ers team have been here plenty of times, and they felt like a team who even did played a B game, but still managed to win. I think they have that collective and that experience to pull out these kind of wins. And I don't think Purdy he didn't have a great game really up until that last drive. And I think everyone saw the stat. Was it Shanahan being 7 points down with going into the fourth quarter? He was 0-30, so they managed to finally turn it around to make it 1-30, which was
in good time.
Yeah, in good time. It was good for me. And and this is why I went Green Bay, because they never like to play win easy. They always like to play it close. It's always sweating, always things going wrong. Even when they get the interceptions, Greenlaw decides to run around like a headless chicken, just waiting for him to fumble. Even all his players have told him to go down. And he's swinging the ball up, like his arms are going way up when he's trying to get past players. It's just like, just get down, you've won the game. Because it's just like, imagine if he had fumbled that and he went to the Packers and they managed to win. That would have been, a nightmare. But, they stepped up when they needed to. I think what was huge is the red zone defense, because it felt like they got ran on and Green Bay were going up and down, picking on Thomas. I think he might be the third cornerback or maybe second now with the injuries. And they picked on him, but they managed to keep him to mainly field goals, especially at the beginning where they had 3 red zone in the first half and only came with 6 points. So that was huge. And just the defense keeping them in the game. And then, finally Purdy starts hitting players with that last drive. And I think another big thing was obviously Debo going out pretty early. What I've seen from what some people have said is that, I think Olsen said this, that Debo was going to be heavily involved in this game. They had quite a lot of the game plan was resolved around him. So him going out super early probably changed a lot of that. And so they tried to get Jennings to do Debo stuff, but he ain't Debo. There's not many Debos in the league. So yeah, you just win and survive. That's how you do in the playoffs. It doesn't matter how you play as long as you keep winning. So on to next week.
Yeah, 24-21 in the end, and it really did feel like the Packers were there to win it, and they had the chance to win. Not chances to win this game. Nice championship pedigree, I suppose, came out with that drive, and they lent on McCaffrey a lot in the second half when they sort of knew Debo weren't coming back. And Purdy probably answered a lot of his critics, I think, with that drive to get the go-ahead score.
Yeah. And I think just respect to Juwan Jennings. I mean, he had the second most catches in the game, 5 for 61, but I think that's really telling of how much, like Joe says, Debo would have been involved in. Juwan Jennings had that one run for -1 yards. I think that might have been the first play of the second half, or certainly one of the first, which was like, oh, that is not Debo. Like, I know he's in the game plan as replace Debo, but like, let's maybe think about it a little more. But it does kind of feel a bit like San Fran kind of snuck away with one, but it's what good teams do. San Fran have been so good all year that, when it comes right at the end, I don't think you can quibble too much with it. It was a very, very exciting game, though. It's thriller. Loved watching it.
Yeah, it was a great game, and I think there's just some bits and key moments in the game. Green Bay's decision to go for it on 4th down instead of kick the field goal early on. I think it was at the start of the second quarter. And you thought, I know they're kind of in the, they got inside the 20. Yes, Joe, great shout. It was a bad spot. I think we sort of shouted that out. I think, they were, maybe do you challenge that? But the decision not to take the points, I felt was rough. And
I think it's
say after the fact, but when they don't make the 4th down, and I get that. I just think when expecting it to be a relatively tight game.
Yeah.
Start.
I think it's tough though, because in my opinion, a game like this, like, you need to score touchdowns. And like, if they kick the field goal, technically, they would have tied come the end of the game as it played out. But I kind of find it hard to criticize too much in a game like this, because I know the Packers defense has been better the last few weeks, but San Fran's offense, again, presuming Debo isn't going to get injured, is not going to say it's unstoppable, but it's really, really good. And if it comes down to you lose by 2 and you kick the field goal, then you're going to get the same criticism the other way. Like,
yeah, because I would say, like, we can't praise Dan Campbell for doing all these 4th and 1s and stuff, and then when someone doesn't work, you can then, he should have done it one way. And I think because it was 4th and 1 where they were, I think because they took the 2 field goals to start with as well. I think if they'd got like a touchdown in one of them, then it would have been easier to be like, okay, let's take the points. I think it's because he was it 7-6 at that point? So,
it was 3-0. They were going to
3-0.
The score to go. Yeah, it'd have been 6. Okay. But I think it's the choice of play as well to try and get Jordan Love to sneak it when you've got Aaron Jones there who's been.
But I think if you watch it, it was like Greenlaw was like, it was an incredible play where he just absolutely just smoked, just Jordan Love in the face, just to like knock him back, where it gives the ref an opportunity to put the spot where it is. Yeah. So you watch most of these, and it normally 4th and 1, the quarterback sneaks through. It takes like a great play to stop that. So
and just a bit the other miscues, and it's not that the Niners had a blocked field goal at the end of this first half, didn't they? But missed field goal, and then probably this is where Jordan Love's been incredible, and it's not to say he hasn't. A couple of really bad throws are what cost them. The one, I think the pass to Kraft where he throws it behind him, it's high and behind him, gets tipped, and then the one there was so much time, like 52 seconds and a timeout, 2 timeouts or a timeout in his back pocket. And you're going outside of the pocket under pressure, throwing back across your own body when you're not set.
The triple coverage.
Yeah, and it just feels like just throw that one out of bounds. First and 10, second and 10, go from there.
But he's a Green Bay quarterback, they all do it. So it's in their
funny
DNA.
because that's what Love's been praised for so much this week. Is like he follows the game script, he does exactly what his coach tells him, and like gets to the playoffs. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm Aaron Rodgers. I'm Brett Favre. I'll do what I want."
Because I don't know if you've seen, because I know it was Favre with the Vikings where he did the
Joey Porter,
and it's like how when they show the two of them together, and it's basically the same play.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that put together, but I know that it was the NFC Championship game, right? When Saints won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was like crazy how it was more or less like carbon copy.
Yeah. I think Joey Porter just brought it back though. He didn't start like, "Way, everybody, I got a ball." Like, okay, Greenlaw, maybe let's settle down, get that.
And when he got tackled as well, it looked such an awkward landing as well. I thought he got injured just doing that. It's just, oh man, just slide. That's all you need to do.
Get down. Again, Packers similar to the tech. Some of the Texans, for the Packers from where they were, and this is a bit of a season of discovery. And can we see, Love's got the stuff to be to be the starter moving forward. I think all those questions have been answered, and they've got the makings of a team that we're going to see a lot in January. For the next
I would say with Love, I was super impressed with the last few games, just how much he deals with pressure. I think that does the difference between like a good and a great quarterback is when there's pressure on him. It felt like he didn't bother him, and he got. I think someone showed like some stats, and it was crazy, like how many completions and big plays he's doing with pressure. So I think that's a huge, big tick to his resume. I would say the only thing is it's weird with Love because I've seen reports that they might offer him a new contract. Yeah. So you think with like a first year, you've got a few years with him on a rookie contract to build around him. But obviously, he might be getting a big contract now. But I think what helps him is that how many young players have got, wide receivers, tight ends, and whatnot that they can survive that way. I just think they need to improve the defense slightly. I know it came on near the end, but I think everything's set around them. And Green Bay dominance or playoff appearances continue and losing a heartbreaking way as always.
I think it almost worked out well enough that the defense hasn't stepped up enough to guarantee Joe Barry keeps his job next year. Like they can still sack him and it'd be fine. Whereas if they beat the Niners with a great defensive performance, you're really putting LaFleur in a tough situation there where I think a change is needed just because you had a hot few games at exactly the right time. I think that's worked out really well for them. It feels like everything's coming up the Packers, which doesn't it always?
Yeah.
Until they play San Francisco.
Until they play San Francisco. We talked about them, the Packers killers. That division's going to be interesting, especially with kind of Detroit flying like they are now. It's going to be a fun one, the NFC North in the next few years. Joe, how are you feeling? Not to get too much into the preview, but you move on to the championship game. I suppose from your perspective, if Debo isn't going to make it, sounds like he probably might, but if Debo's banged up, what do the Niners do then to kind of compensate for that?
Well, I think it's just a different game plan. I think, if you go into a game, I think that was the issue, is that they lost him so early, and if that's a big game plan. But I've seen it's 50-50, and even if he doesn't play, he'll not be fully fit. So I think they'll go different routes and try and get other players on board. And I think, this Lions defense is not scary. I think it's, we'll talk about it with the next game. You can throw on them, especially their cornerbacks. So I think, again, it's going to be Kittle. It's going to be probably Ayuk a bit further. And, I think apparently it's going to be nice and sunny with great weather next week. So I think that helps Purdy out massively where he doesn't have to. I don't know if you saw he was like drying his hand while he was moving backwards. It's, he maybe not, maybe landing in San Francisco was pretty good for Purdy, that he doesn't have to play in Chicago or Cleveland and whatnot with where the weather's not great. So
it's going to be a cracker next week. Bets in this one. Joe, you kindly give me Niners plus 9.5 on the Instagram graphic, but I was certainly on 49ers minus 9.5.
Plus 115, that'd be a price, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. I had a couple of Green Bay props that hit. So I was a pretty good weekend for the props. It was the markets I don't usually touch very often, but tend to go for in playoff time, when we're kind of in the playoffs and stuff like that. I had the Bo Melton over 10.5 receiving yards, so he averages 30, just shot 14 yards a catch, and he caught the one touchdown pass for 19 yards from Jordan Love, so that catch. And Aaron Jones over 16.5 rush attempts. I was hoping that they'd stay in the game long enough to keep the run going, and I think he ended up running 18 rush attempts. So yeah, that was cast, hit late, but hit pretty well. Gents, how about you? You same game parlay, Joe?
Yeah, I had a couple of Kittle ones on there which hit because I think I said in the preview it's Kittle's season playoffs and he's always going to win big. Yeah, Ayuk didn't quite get the rush, the receiving yards, which I was surprised, especially when Debo went out. That offense is just going to get going, and then I had Wicks 4+ receptions, which he didn't get any, which I was surprised at just because I know Watson was back, but he seemed like the player who they would target against the second or third cornerback for the 49ers, but it looks like they were aiming for Dobbs and like Melton, like you mentioned, rather than Wicks. So.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Yeah, Wicks had 2 targets for nothing. He blanked in Fantasy Gameday for us as well, which was a killer, along with the Debo injury, and we were sunk in Fantasy Gameday. Byron, you were on the Niners to win both halves, weren't you?
Okay, man.
Which they did, yeah. Plus 130.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they won
Jordan Love
7-6 and 17-15.
It doesn't matter how you do it. You just need to squeak it through. I was surprised, actually, when I checked at the end of the game. Like, I want to bet. Which one? Because, Jordan Love certainly get over 8.5 rushing yards. He almost had that in attempts. He had 5 attempts.
Carries,
for 3 yards.
Yeah.
And Musgrave over 40 yards. I think he had 4 catches, right? No, 3 catches, 4 targets, but for like 10 yards. It was never got going. So, again, not a great one. But we'll take the one win we had.
Take the one win, absolutely. Well, speaking of the NFC North teams, let's go talk about the Lions. So, the Lions hadn't won a playoff game for 30 years, and now they've won 2 in a week. Lions 31, Tampa 23, and this wasn't comfortable at all for the Lions. And again, Tampa Bay, I think, exceeding expectations again. They just would not die in this game. And again, I'll repeat, a lot of the stuff, Baker Mayfield, again, took his game to another level. I thought he had an outstanding game. I know it was the interception that finished it, but it started and finished it. That bookended the game for them, which is probably the difference. But in between, absolutely sensational again from Baker.
Yeah, 350 yards. Put it all on his back, as he always does. And, just come up short, but a hell of a game to watch, this one.
Yeah, it was a great one, and I think probably maybe a little bit of a sneaky how good and how close it was for a long part of this. But the Lions, the atmosphere was great again at Ford Field, and for a time it just looked like they just couldn't get away. They would go score, and that defense is what's going to hold them back ultimately. And my feeling is whether it's next week against the Niners or if they do manage to win and get to the Super Bowl against the Ravens or Chiefs, I think that defense is going to be what kills them, just because they just don't seem to be able to get off the field enough.
I know what you mean, but I love the idea of the Lions being held back by their defense as they're in the NFC title game. A position the Lions have not been in for 60 years. It's like, well, this is what's going to cost them. It's like, I think they'll be fine with that.
Like, all right, yeah.
Obviously, at this point, they want to win the Super Bowl, but it's just telling of how expectations change through the year.
Yeah. Joe, just to spotlight on the Lions for you as you're looking ahead for them next week, what did you see out of the Lions here that would worry you for next week?
Well, I was impressed with, Jared Goff. Like, if you give him Baker the shout, you got to give Goff a shout because he's been knocked for, not handling the situation, the pressure well. And, when he got into the third quarter, they went touchdown, and then a punt the punt didn't help at the end. But, to score 3 touchdowns in a row, I think that was massive. So they had a great game. Just, and, you got to give it to Dan Campbell with, was it 4th and 1? No, 4th and where they gave it to Craig Reynolds, I think. Yeah, 4th and 1. Yeah, which no one was expecting. So, you could have easily thought they could have got a field goal there, but you got to praise him for going for that. I think the defense, I think it can be got up, but it stepped up when it mattered as well. So I think it was a good overall performance. But it was the Bucks, and I think the Bucks had a great game, but I don't think we would have said that they were the top teams in the NFC. So it's going to be a good game. I think the offense is scary, but again, it's all about pressuring Goff in the middle, and I think that's massive because if you don't get pressure on him, they've got enough targets all around, and that running game is dangerous if it gets going. So I think, like I said, it's just the defense. Can they hold and keep the game tight? And I think Jared Goff has grown up, is a different player to who he was at the Rams. So it should be a fun tie.
Yeah,
I think the Niners probably got more chance of putting pressure on Goff though with their front four. Because I was really surprised in this game how little it felt like the Bucs blitzed. Because you've seen him last Monday, and it felt like they blitzed him coming off the coach, whereas it felt like they tried to get at Goff a lot more with four, and it wasn't a total failure. I don't think. I don't know because that's why we'll get to our bets in a bit, but that's why I thought Jameson Williams was going to pop off because he'd be such a great deep outlet essentially, and it just never really happened. But I think that's what benefits San Francisco is they're not going to need to. See how that plays, obviously, but definitely a positive.
Yeah, I don't know if the Bucs were just a little bit worried, or Bowles was a little bit worried that if they did start blitzing with more than four and it didn't get there, the big plays that they'd give up. And I think that was less of a worry against Philadelphia last week because they were a shambles and have been a shambles for a while. But it felt like actually you would live or die by the blitz in this, and you could get punished. So he went for a bit of a different approach. But they did a bit later on. They did have to start bringing the heat, and they certainly did start getting to Goff a couple of times. Leonard David had a big sack. Clyde Cansey had a sack as well, and very impressed by Clyde Cansey this season. He's been a force in the middle there. I think it helps playing next to Vita Vea, but a force on that defensive line. But a lot of, again, actually, I think the Bucs are in a pretty okay position moving forward. They've still got some kind of cap problems they need to deal with. They dealt with most of it last off season. Baker's going to stick around, and if he can play anywhere near to the level that he played this year, then
still Baker's markets like before we declare he's sticking around. I think because I don't think he's given a discount.
Yeah, no, should he?
No.
But I think kind of it's a good situation for him. With
I think all else being equal, he'll stay. But the idea of a team just coming and putting a lot of money up wouldn't stun me, I guess.
There's teams with bad quarterback situations there that could do a lot worse than go make a play for Baker Mayfield. Yep. I wonder if it's done enough to get Mike Evans to stick around.
That's what my question was going to be.
I don't know, but also kind of Mike Evans might go ring chasing now. If you can get him on a contender next year, then that would be that'd be a heck of a weapon to add. But great year really in the end. And again, I think that the Bucs will be pushing for that to win the NFC South for the fourth year in a row. Lions, still impressed, and I think they've done great. I think this might be where the fairy tale ends. But it'd be great to see them in the Super Bowl. Sorry, Joe, it would be great to see the Lions in the Super Bowl.
Every neutral should be cheering the Lions.
Would love to see the Lions in the Super Bowl. Yeah,
49ers have got 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
5, 6, 5.
Yeah, the last one was
it's nothing against the 49ers. It's just fucking the Lions. Come on.
Yeah. No, I could see that. I think if the 49ers weren't in there, it would have been awesome if it was Lions Bills in the Super Bowl. But
same way if it was the Cowboys here, I'd expect people to be cheering the Lions because
exactly.
It's the Lions. Jesus Christ. Lions made an addition today as well. I don't know if y'all seen it.
Zach Ertz. Yeah, so I think Brock Wright went down or was banged up. And shout out as well, by the way. So Zach Ertz, great. If he can come in and just play, that'd be incredible. And I think he would. I don't think he'd need much to be ready.
He's not running a 4-2-40, is he? So
yeah, and he could make he could be a key for them, a couple of key plays.
Comeback player of the year possibility.
Drive extenders, but also shout out, Joe. You've mentioned it in the chat.
Glasgow. Frank Ragnall.
Well, but it's tough just managing to play through that where you just got rolled up on. It was Glasgow that got rolled up on, wasn't it?
Yeah. You seemed confused. So I was like, was it Frank Ragnall? But I've always gone Glasgow.
Yeah, I think Ragnall got injured as well, and he came back in.
Yeah.
And Jonah Jackson, the right guard, but he's out next week, so I think that's a big right guard.
Maybe that's where Zach Curtis is slotting.
In play, but just toughed it out, and that true, all grit that the Lions have been preaching. And there's not many. I think this is probably, and it's not even just whether if they're just falling short, that they got beat last week or whatever. People talk about culture changes and building a culture, and we hear it at every new head coach press conference. You hear it across all sports. I don't think I've seen one actually implemented as effectively as what Dan Campbell has done. And it's not just him; it's the owner, it's the GM. They've done it collectively, and just that.
Yeah. And they've drafted well. I think that's massively. Not even just like last year. I think the last few years they've got players in who maybe not star players, but fit into that culture and made them who they are.
But it's huge. It's Amara St. Brown. It's Penny Sewell. It's this class. What we sat here on draft night going, what the fucking hell are they doing? Like, what are they like? This is a team that feels like it's just adding pieces that are so close, and that's not what the Lions were back in April. Mm-hmm. And yet, every single one of them has made huge contributions. Jahmyr Gibbs has been amazing. Jack Campbell's had moments.
I think I was going to say, to be fair, on draft night we only watched the first round.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement. Sam Laporte was a good pick, and Brian Branch was a good pick.
Brian
Branch
was incredible. Yeah,
those were later first rounders who went in the second round.
Yeah,
I still don't really agree with the Gibbs logic. I must say he's been good, but I think they'd be a better team with Zay Flowers on there, for example, or maybe even Jackson Smith and Jigba.
If they'd have got Christian Gonzalez maybe at the time,
exactly. And Jack Campbell, I'm not going to say he's been a bust, but Clyde DeCanty went 2 picks later, I believe. And again, Zay Flowers again could have been an option there. I mean, so could Quinton Johnson, and he might have been a total bust. I'm not as far from it, but I do think paying up for those positions in the first, I love the second round picks, and that was never really a question. But I do think that it was a big premium on those first round picks. Gibbs has probably paid off just about because he's been so good down the stretch, and he was so good on Sunday. But Campbell I still think's a luxury pick, and that was kind of my take then as well. The Lions aren't so good they should be taking luxury picks, and I think I'm not trying to take anything away from them because I love this team, and I love to see them winning. I'd love to see them win the Super Bowl, but I'm still not going to celebrate Jack Campbell as a good pick just because everything else around him has worked out fine. I think they'd have been better taking Cansey or a wide receiver to help that offense. But not here to criticize.
No, absolutely not. Congrats to the Detroit Lions. They head to Santa Clara next week to take on the Niners. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
Kind of glad that's their second one.
Yeah. I just can't wait. Both games are going to be so good.
Yeah. It's can't wait, but we're not here to talk about that. Let's move on and talk about the fourth and final game. This is probably the headline game of the weekend, wasn't it? Mahomes v. Allen, the Chiefs at the Bills, and the Chiefs have done it again. 27-24. Joe, you're shaking your head. You take the floor.
Yeah, it feels like are the Bills ever going to beat them? Oh. Sorry about that.
Very dramatic sign off. That's the end of the
Yeah, it just felt like he was there for the Bills. They were at home. They were versus the Chiefs, who we all thought the offense was dead, but obviously they were just fooling everyone all year because they were just unstoppable. Yeah, it felt like it flipped a bit that the Chiefs were the the aggressive, the big play offense, and the Bills were methodical, big drives, but still getting the points. And I said in the chat, it was there for the Bills to win it. And I think that's the most disappointing. That yes, I know they missed a field goal at the end, but does anyone think that Mahomes wouldn't have gone down and scored any points with like one minute? Yeah, 1 minute 20 left with 2 timeouts. It was there to get that touchdown, and it was just there for Allen. That obviously the throw on second down where it was open and Chris Jones made a massive play, but all game I don't think they got. I've seen they didn't get a throw over 15 yards. Or it might have been like I think only got 2 over 10 yards as well. Yeah. So they were daring him to like throw downfield or just like, are you actually going to just keep dunking it and like throwing short passes? They were trying to tempt him, and right at the end they got him to do it. And that I think we've all saw that the Diggs was wide open on that second down. Just pick up the first down, bleed clock that way, and you get your chance. And I think he went all out. But on the flip side, that Chiefs offense was like unstoppable. Which
it's just come online.
I was shocked. I thought the Bills defense has played well lately, and I thought they could at least hold him. But I think they punted once. Did even because
they punted towards the end. I think that was it. Yeah,
in the fourth quarter. Yeah, and then I think that was it.
Yeah, which is like crazy when you think about his team, and they did it so quickly. I think that was just nuts. MVS making massive catches, and it felt like the Bills took like 7-8 minutes to get a touchdown, and then the Chiefs would be like a blink of an eye, like, they're doing the 20 like in the red zone within like 3 or 4 players, and they're scoring another touchdown. So. Yeah.
Are we sure it was MVS as well? Like, it's not some player who was eliminated a week or 2 ago. It's like, come meet Taylor Swift and you can play for the Chiefs. Like,
it's Tyreek Hill in disguise.
Yeah, because like there was I think it was his first catch, the one out to the sideline. It was a real good catch, actually. It was a good throw. It was a really good catch, though. I'm like, who's at 11? Who's 11? It's like, and you could, Jim Nantz was like, it's a catch. It's like, yeah, Jim, I'm as surprised as you are, buddy. What the hell? That's MVS. He's making a catch on the sideline. He's not. 5 yards open downfield and bobbling it 3 times and maybe calling it in. He's like catching it contested on the sideline in a crucial moment. What the heck? But I didn't see him without his helmet on, so I'm just putting it out there. A bit suspicious.
Yeah. And obviously, and then you look at the Bills in the fourth quarter not scoring any points, and I think that's what cost them, obviously, where I think they went 3 and out fairly quickly. Or obviously they went 4 and out when they went for that with that fake punt, which was never on. It was, didn't even look close. And you thought the game was over there. And, we said the Bills had the chance, but the Chiefs threw that away as well, giving it to Harmon, trying to do a trick play, reaching out, which, should have just kept with what they're doing.
Just run Pacheco to the 2 yard line.
And the game would have been over then. But, the Bills, it feels like the Bills are just a good Bills where they have a chance to beat the Demon, beat Patrick Mahomes, and they just come up short. It must suck to be a Bills fan when you've got all this expectation and you just fall short every single time. It's never like they get blown out. It's just like 1 or 2 plays. If it went slightly differently, they'll be moving on. But, the Chiefs are the new Patriots, where even if they play terrible, they get to the conference, AFC conference final. So,
yeah. And I think the Bills Mafia, Bills fans need to own some of this. It's the AFC Divisional Round game. You're at home against the Chiefs, who you've not been able to beat. Do you know how many videos I saw of Bills fans going through flaming tables before the game on social media? One, and it was a guy in a Lions jumper.
Yeah, I was a bit confused about that.
And he's on his backside set on fire. But
that was very funny.
That was it. So I feel that Bills Mafia should own some of that. They should have been going crazy, and that transmits. But
you think they've become a bit spoiled?
Possibly, yeah.
Don't want to really say it out
loud.
That's think it.
Yeah. That's on you two guys. I'm not pissing off the Bills Mafia. I think they're great.
Prove me wrong, Bills Mafia.
Clip this and post it. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to own that. I tweeted it beforehand and got nothing from Bills Mafia, so they weren't even prepared to defend themselves.
Tells you a lot.
Yeah.
Tells you a lot. I don't know if you've seen the win Josh Allen narrativeville, right? Did you see the quarterbacks Josh Allen has beaten in the playoffs has been updated again? So yeah, it's 2020 beat Phil Rivers in his last game, and then he beat Lamar Jackson, who got concussed in the third quarter. 21 beat Mac Jones, 22 beat Skylar Thompson, 23 beat Mason Rudolph. Finn.
I feel
but he did have a great game though.
He played so well.
Yeah,
he did.
Up into the fourth quarter.
It's absurd.
It's a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's that little
thing. Some of his throws, the one to Steph Diggs on the sideline.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what more can this guy do?
Yeah, Diggs and Sherfield didn't come up with a catch. And it's not an easy catch, but Allen can't throw the ball any better. Yeah,
the touchdown to Shakir, the one that, and again, Steph Diggs is clear. Shakir's open in the end zone. Like, I know the throw comes off a little because of the pass rush, but like, I'm not saying I'm saying it a little trolley about Josh Allen's record, but like,
if that was Patrick Mahomes,
just fucking hate Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, the difference between the two. Because I know Patrick. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he makes that score. He gets a touchdown.
He just does. Like you said, like I don't know how exactly he does it, and like, I don't know how you guys feel because like, we all lived through the Patriots dynasty and all that, and I hated it truthfully. I don't mind seeing the Chiefs win because I absolutely love watching Patrick Mahomes that much that like I don't even really care. Like,
I don't mind seeing this Chiefs with this offense, seeing the Chiefs with what they were weeks 1 to 17. Yeah,
but like it feels like a total privilege to watch Patrick Mahomes like this. Like it might sound cliche and a bit cheesy, but it's just true. Like it's like, how can I be mad at this? It's obscene.
I would say this year there feels like there's been a turn. I was gutted that
this year.
Yeah. I was gutted that the Bills lost. I felt like it was there for the Bills. They got a great fan base. They're always like so close.
Paul says they're soft, but yeah.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
Yeah. It felt like a team who we were like, oh, they just do it, And I was pretty good. I went to the Bills to win here. And Chiefs roll on, and I don't know if I want to see them in the Super Bowl because it's going to be the same narratives. But I also want to see the Ravens as well because I think they're the better team. So it's a no-win.
I don't think it matters what you want. The Chiefs are underdogs on the road again. They're going to fucking win.
Mahomes is unbeaten on the road in the playoffs.
Add that to the list now as well. I think the Chiefs did this just in. They got Travis Kelce the ball. They ran it with Pacheco. We even saw kind of Rashee Rice took a dip in the targets he got. Mahomes was going to the guys that have delivered before. They've delivered down the stretch, delivered when it's counted. Rashee Rice value has been brilliant, but I'm just going to give it to the guys. But even still, Travis Kelce wasn't the biggest Kelce star of the game on Sunday. I thought we'd see the end of Jason Kelce after last week, and the brotherless shove finally died.
Knows where the camera is.
After seeing with his fucking top off.
Quite a character.
Yeah, it's one word for it.
And
going after Bills fans, after Kelce, it's going after all the beloved NFL figures.
I did love the picture of Kelce and Taylor Swift together at the game where it's like America's sweetheart finally meets Taylor Swift. But yeah, speaking of QB records, Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, 0-2 against Brady, 1-1 against Joe Burrow, 12-0 otherwise.
Yeah, it's 13th playoff, isn't it? Yeah.
What else can you say? Like, he's just...
Yeah. And it's a battle of undefeated because the Ravens are undefeated home conference games. Because it's their first one.
Oh, very good. I love that, though.
Yeah.
Mahomes is 1-0 and the Ravens are 0-0.
Yeah, I think the last time they were home, I think it was the 70s when they were the Colts. So
I did see that the other day, you're right,
yeah. So the
Schefter
Ravens
got dragged for referring to Houston as the Oilers, even though they were based in Houston, and he was technically right, which is annoying because it's Adam Schefter. But because he mentioned Baltimore and Houston, and it was both the Colts and the Oilers.
Just to get the obligatory Taylor Swift mentioning for the week as well. When Kelce scored the touchdown and did the love heart thing, I was very sad to see that all over that was, how cute was it that Kelce did the Taylor, what's it, the Taylor heart? What is it called? The Taylor hand heart?
Yeah, no. I think it's just a hand heart. That's been around for about 20 years, as far as I know. But yeah,
Taylor
chicken
Swift
it.
hand heart, is it? It's the Gareth Bale hand heart. That's what it is.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, even there's people doing it before Gareth Bale as well. So yeah. Anyway, do we know he was doing it at her? Because I think he might have seen Jason jumping out and was like, "Bro,
could have been, yeah."
Or Tony Romo, since he loves the Chiefs so much.
Yeah, I mean,
if
Tony
he'd done that, Tony
Romo,
Romo would have been on the field.
yeah, yeah. A lot of hate Tony Romo was getting. Just last couple of bits on the game. I couldn't believe the last score in this game was with 14 and a half minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Which was insane. And the punt, Joe, you touched on it before, the going for it, the fake punt. I think seeing it, I'm not sure that was the plan going in. I think they just they caught the Chiefs with 10 on the field. They had 8, I think it was 8 versus 6 the Bills had. I'm fine. If you catch him in that situation, go for it.
I was about to say, I think what was weird is that he went in, went out, and he was like, "Oh, they're going for fake punt." It didn't look like it was a trick one because Hamlin just stood like directly behind the snap. So he was a bit like, "Oh, he's obviously going to go for a fake punt here." It wasn't like a trick one where they're like palm it off somewhere and like one of them. He was like, "Oh, this is clearly they're going for a fake punt."
Obviously, somebody in that lineup obviously makes the check, sees that they've got him, and then calls it. And yeah, I think it was the right thing to do because you're 8 on 6 on that side of the field. You've got the men to block it, and you just fuck it up. And yeah, I don't mind the call in that because I think that's just switched on special teams play.
And another thing is like, if the Bills had won this, how big would it have been? Was it Kincaid who managed to
twice?
Managed to stop the scoop and score when Josh Allen fumbled it when he on that final drive. Like, that could have been huge there, but
Kincaid did that twice in the game as well. He got the illegal batting. On the first drive that led to a field goal for them. Got the illegal batting penalty, which is the first time I've ever seen that called. So that was a new one on me in the NFL. And then, did it to stop what would have been a certain, scoop and score. So, it's a shame that those plays didn't count for anything because, again, plays that don't show up in the stat sheet but prevented 2 turnovers. Yeah. Chiefs-Ravens. I've already hammered the Chiefs at +3.5 before they come in.
I might hammer the Ravens, I think,
We'll just keep your background for next week, Joe, then.
Well, exactly, yeah. We're not learning. I'm sure we could get the stats of how many times we've gone against the Ravens at home.
You probably have them.
Yeah.
You probably have them tracked. How many times has Paul backed against the Ravens?
I think you're the biggest. I think you lost on. I think you bet underdogs against the Ravens at home. I think you 3 or 4 this year now. So
no, it's get personal.
Yeah.
On this one, we missed out, by the way. So I talked about all the bets we did in the 2 other games, and we'll talk about this one. Didn't mention the game where I went 4 for 4. We'll touch on that one in a second. Chiefs Bills. So I think a lot of us were on the under. So me, Byron took the Chiefs. You got them at +3. I got them at +2.5. I took the under, which obviously had no hope of hitting the way they were going up and down the field, especially the Chiefs. You had
one that lost on the draft parlay as well. That
yes,
if you went with the choose your own adventure buyer and not the choose your own adventure Joe, but that was the only one that didn't hit, and I think that was my first pick as well. So
lucky. Yeah, I loved it as well. To be fair, I backed it. And Joe, you had the same game parlay, but Allen. Kelsey was short, wasn't he, in the end? Was he 1 reception short as well?
Yeah, the other 2, Noah Gray and Shakir hit. And I'm so annoyed as well because I was going to go Allen 2 touchdowns or more, but the odds weren't. They were decent, and I should have just gone for it, but I got swayed with Kincaid because I thought he likes to throw some touchdowns and he didn't play more, but so annoyed.
Done here, in the red zone. And that's why I had the Dawson Knox. I love that prop, and I thought I'd 1 catch because Dawson Knox, again, I think it's 12 yards of catch he's had this season. He only got a short one, but he had it. It was a 3rd down conversion, and he had it. He just had to beat one guy around the corner, and he'd have got 15, 20 yards and just slipped, which was a shame. But yes, back to Bucks Lions. 4-for-4. Lions -6. Over 3.5 pass touchdowns in the game. Rashad White over 22.5 receiving yards, and Baker Mayfield over 35.5 pass attempts. Should have parlayed it. I think it'd have been 9-10 to 1. Instead, I got 4 even money hits. Lions to score first and win. Was that up, Byron? No? Yes? Yeah.
Scored field goal first off.
And then again, your same game parlay. I think Reynolds went out injured, didn't he, after he got 2 catches?
Yeah, and Montgomery. I knew I should have gone 10 plus, but again, I got suckered into the odds and went 15. But yeah, I feel like I picked because I got Otten over 31.5 and Sam Laporta. So yeah, just picking a bit too many and being a bit too greedy on some of them. But
yeah, cool. We're down to 3 games. That's all we've got left. All 3 games to bet on.
Well, there's a Pro Bowl game. It's the flag football.
Game. I used to love to bet in the Pro Bowl.
Are we not doing a preview for the flag football game now?
I'm busy that week.
We'll do one.
Right, let's go and check in how our comps went. So it's again tight. So Joe, I think you.
We all went 2-2.
2-2, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, I got the
same picks. Yeah.
I got the Saturday. You got the Sunday.
Yeah. So yeah, Joe, you were on the Ravens -9, on the Packers +9.5. Me and Byron were on the Lions -6.5 and Bucks +2.5. Yeah. So Joe 6-4, me 5-5, Byron 4-6. Moving on to our draft competition. I'm loving this. I think we should do a variation of the draft for next year.
Me too. I've been thinking about that. Yeah, I think that could be a thing next year as well.
I am 4-0, aren't I? Leading the way, heading into the conference championship games. Joe, you went 0-1. 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so you had the Bucks +6.5 and the over in it was 44, which was a shame. Texans Ravens, which is the push. Byron, you had the under in Chiefs Bills, and you hit on the Lions -6.5. I had Chiefs +2.5 and then under 50.5 in Packers 49ers. So yeah, that leaves us me at 4-0, Byron at 2-2, Joe at 2-1-1. I can be tied, can't I? I can't be beaten.
It depends if we're doing the Super Bowl or not, but yeah.
I might have to use one pick for the Super Bowl.
Well, technically, if you lose and I get the 2, then I'll be 4-1-1.
Oh, so you could go 4-1.
I'd win by a half.
You could win by half. Yeah, we could do the Super Bowl, but we just have to do pick one of the fucks. You'd have the either side and the over-under.
Yeah. Unless we'll figure it out. Sure, we could do player props and stuff. That'd be fun.
Happy to do that. Oh yeah, so that could be to do and a player prop. Yeah, that's a good shout. Yes, so very happy with that. What have we got left to do? There's plenty of stuff to do, isn't there? Should we do our fantasy game? Should we have a look at Fantasy Gameday, Joe? Long list this week. Fantasy Gameday, yes, it was the divisional. Didn't update the top. Disgrace, Joe. Divisional Round Stars game, Fantasy Gameday, and I can't say enough good stuff about Fantasy Gameday. We've been playing it for since week 3. I think we started playing it, and we've played every week since. It's been absolutely amazing. Not sure what plans Gimme and Co have got for next week. I've not seen anything yet. So if this was the last one for the season, it was a blast. So if you didn't join, make sure you're in for next season. Fantasy Gameday, the hottest daily NFL fantasy game. So if you play fantasy football, as it is, but don't dabble in daily fantasy. So all you do when you play DraftKings and things like that, then come over to Fantasy Gameday. You set your lineup of your NFL stars using the 40 grand budget. Watch the points roll in, and if you're in the top 20% of entrants each week, you win a cash prize. It's £7.50 an entry. I think it's real good value. We've routinely had more than 100 people playing each week, so the prize pot has been good. Go play. If there is a game next week, sign up using promo code COVER, Charlie Oscar Victor Echo Romeo, all in capital letters, and you'll get a free game. So you'll get, what's it, £3.75 an entry then rather than £7.50 for one. So you might as well and have a bit of fun while you're watching the games as well. Winner this week, 193 points. McCaffrey captain, sprung into life the second half, especially with the touchdowns. Lamar had the huge game. And then, just solid contributions from Mike Evans and Kelsey really was what made it happen.
Yeah, a bit of everything across the board here. No, like double stack or, one game heavy or anything. Just sounds obvious, isn't it? Just pick the good players.
Yeah.
And yeah, you do all right. Yeah, Mike Evans, Kelsey smashed it.
Yeah, shout out to Blue 6403 for a great week. Couple of bits from us then before we wrap up. We'll finish up with winners and losers. We've got some exciting news. Alluded to it last week. Good teams win, great teams cover. We're going to have a presence at the Utter Punts Conference Championship watch party over at the Beer Keller in Manchester next Sunday night. I think the doors open at. Just got it. Doors open at, I want to say 6:30. Yeah, doors open at 6:30. Open until the whenever the last game finishes. So it'll be 2:30, 3 o'clock. It's a $5 in. You get a drink and stuff with that as well with your $5. Tickets are available now from Eventbrite. We'll post a link in the episode. You'll see it all over our social media all week. So if you're in and around the Northwest, come and join us. It'd be cool to see you. I'll be up on stage. I say stage, I'm not sure quite what they've got the Beer Keller, but yeah, somewhere near the front with Dan and Liam from the Utter Punts podcast, giving some expert insight from me. You'll definitely get that from Dan and Liam. Not sure you'll get that from me, but it should be good fun. So if you're around, come down. It's a $5. It's a great venue, the Beer Keller in Manchester, to watch the NFL. It'll be busy. It'll be jam-packed. The atmosphere will be great. There's plenty of games and giveaways as well. I think Gimme and Co from Fantasy Gameday will be there as well. But yeah, make sure you come along and We'll have a great evening watching 2 absolutely belting games. Should probably do a bit of a shorter promo than that because we need to cut that. Might have to do another one at the end to get that.
It'll be fun though, right? I mean,
yeah,
sounds like it'll be a blast. If I was in the UK, I would be heading down.
Yeah, you flying over, guys? Yeah.
If Beer Keller were paying for it, or the Utter Punts guys, or yourself, Paul. You had a good betting weekend, so
yeah.
I'm happy for go first class. I'll go premium economy if you're paying.
Okay, cool. Appreciate you making those concessions. Right, winners and losers from this week, guys. Joe, do you want to go first?
There's only one winner, really. It's got to be the Lions, Dan Campbell, and that organisation to get to a conference final. And, so the great stat that the Lions have been to more conference finals than the Cowboys this century.
Oh,
so
come on, Joe.
Yes, the Lions.
You have to laugh. The big one is the Lions, obviously. I'm going to go Lamar Jackson. Just get that monkey off his back of can't win in the playoffs, etc., etc. I'm not sure how much that'll do to it, but yeah, great game. MVP incoming.
Yeah, nice. I mean, it's got with the Kansas City Chiefs, hasn't it? We've written them off all year. Said they weren't going to get it together. They've got a lot of shader. They've not done it on the road. Mahomes not done it on the road. I just strolled into Buffalo and got the job done. So, yeah, has to be Mahomes and the Chiefs for me. Looking dangerous. I think, you know what? I think they're going to win the whole damn thing. I'll say it now. I think they're going to win it all. Losers. Byron.
I think there can only be one. Well, I only have one. I think it's a real tough week to pick a loser. But I'm going to go for Buffalo because I kind of feel like the window's shortening and maybe closing. AFC East is going to be tough this year. They're going to have a lot of salary cap, difficult decisions to make, and the game was there for them, and once again it's slipped away from them. And speaking of getting monkeys off your back, Patrick Mahomes is still very much on their back, and there to stay.
Yeah, tough. I should have gone first. Tough, Joe. Who's next for you? Who's going to be the loser of the week?
Yeah, mine was going to be similar, but I'll go the Packers fans because they've had 32 years with 2 amazing quarterbacks. They've probably got a third one now and only winning 2 Super Bowls and like to lose to the Niners in the playoffs. So, and it could this continue. So, getting so close, but yeah, not quite so far.
Yeah, tough one. Feels harsh. But I'm gonna have to go. I'm along the lines with you, Baron. I'm gonna have to go Bills Mafia. They didn't do enough to help the team win.
I just want to chuck a bonus one in there on a similar kind of line to Buffalo. To Bills Mafia. The grown men who get upset by seeing Taylor Swift on the TVs.
Yeah.
Because you've got another fucking week of it, you little fucking nerds.
Imagine
Yeah.
the Super Bowl, like if they win next week and it's the Super Bowl,
Yeah,
I
I think it's hilarious. Like you cheer Eminem on the telly when it's Detroit, but Taylor
exactly,
upsets you all. It's
and they were loving Jason Kelsey on the Jason Kelsey.
Like hide your misogyny a little better. It's hilarious. She's 8-3 when she attends, and I figured someone was going to go Buffalo first. So I had that as my second one lined up, so I wanted to chuck it in anyway because fuck it, why not? It's the playoffs.
Cool. I've got another bonus one as well. It's kickers. You know,
rough weekend.
But I hate when people say, well, they should just get rid of kickers and there should be no such thing as kickers in NFL.
No.
It just feels like, well, that'd just
skill.
be, and it'll probably take a lot of the tension and the that kind of thing. But there's too many kickers who cost their
These winning teams don't want to get rid of them.
Yep, exactly.
The only fucking losers that do. So, no offense, Tyler Bass. I'm sure Tyler Bass has deactivated his Instagram and stuff. I feel bad for it. I feel bad for him, but like, it's still part of the game.
Yep. Special teams is important. Bad week for the brand for kickers across the NFL. Rough one. A couple of bits. We'll try and do a shorter Up Punts watch along promo. So come join us. We'll be joining the Up Punts. I will be joining the Up Punts podcast guys over at the Beer Keller in Manchester for the watch along of the Conference Championship games. We've got Chiefs, Ravens, Niners, Lions. It's a $5. It starts at 6:30. They'll be open. The Beer Keller in Manchester will be open until the end of the last game. Plenty of analysis, pre-game, halftime, post-game from me and Dan and Liam from the Punts Pod. Go get your tickets now on Eventbrite. The link is in the event episode in the episode description, as well as all over our social media channels this week. Come and say hello. There'll be plenty of games, prizes, giveaways as well. So come and have a blast. Eventbrite for your tickets. Beer Keller Manchester Conference Championship watch along party. We're going to finish with some music for this week. First time, because we did this loads in the off season. Didn't do it so much in the regular season, just because the episodes came thick and fast. But it's one. When I saw this come out last week, wanted to get it on. We've had Jace Campbell play out an episode in the off season earlier in the year. Love this guy. Him and his band are going to do great things. He's released a new EP this week called The Ballad of the Dirty Earwell. It's available on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your music, it'll be available. And there's a new single on the EP. So some of Jace's previous songs are on there, the EP, but there's a new single on there called Save You, and that's going to play out our episode. So go give Jace Campbell a follow and a listen. He's got a gig in Manchester on Friday. If you can get yourself down to Off the Square, he's supporting I think it's the Illicits at Off the Square in Manchester this week. So go check him out and go check out the EP because it's brilliant. We'll be back next week with later this week with the Conference Championship preview. Lost where I am. But for now, here's Jace Campbell with Save You.